Well. Hi everyone, welcome to Write Your Narrative, a weekly podcast where we are discussing everything street art related happening in South Florida. I'm your host Pascal D from Token of the Wall. This week, my guest is Derek Wilson, a.k.a. Mr. Wilson, a Miami artist who is also an art educator. He has been curating the famous Union Wall at Lincoln's Brewing in the Verdure District since 2017. He recently created Elevate, a non-profit art foundation, and a school mural project, raising awareness for the visual arts and building a culture that makes attending school exciting. Hi everyone, and welcome to the podcast. We are here on location with Derek Wilson, and what a location we are in. It's something very, very significant for you. First of all, if you want to introduce yourself to the listener and then talk about the location we are in.
Well, my name is Derek Wilson. I'm also known as Mr. Wilson, actually really known as Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson in the classroom, 27-year veteran. And Mr. Wilson on the streets. I'm Mr. Wilson here. I'm Mr. Wilson there. So I'm Mr. Wilson. Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're very welcome. Tell us a little bit about the location we are here. We are on Verde Road in a quite famous brewery. This is maybe your headquarters somehow here?
I guess, yeah, yes. This is home base.
Home base, yes.
We're in the heart of Birdwood Art District, so shout out to Birdwood Art District.
Of course.
But we're at Lincoln's Beard Brewing.
Big shout out to the brewery.
And you can't say Lincoln's Beard Brewing without saying John Falco. And John Falco, true story. If you know Birdwood Art District, you know Cookie and Monum. Cookie turned to me and said, I need to introduce you to someone. And she introduced me to that someone, John Falco, and we haven't stopped working together ever since. I watched the pennies on that bar.
Yes.
When they were placed in place. Like, I've been here for a little bit.
So we go back to what, 2016?
We go back to, I don't know, man, circa, 2014, 15, maybe 16, when we did the first wall brawl on a wall was outside on the Union Wall, which is now the Union Wall. Back then, it was just a blank wall in Birdwood. It was blank in Birdwood Art District.
All right. So definitely since then, you had 47 artists representing the Union Wall.
Yes.
So you are now curating this wall.
Yes. I mean, it happened so organically. I can't tell you how naturally it unfolded. It was incredible. And again, John Falco turned to me and said, what if we do the second level? Because we had done the first level. I'm like, sure, I'll call some people. And one led to another and another and another. And I mean, I could name drop for days. I could name drop 47 artists. I'm not going to do that. But that's how it was built. And the last dozen, they wanted to be down than to be on that wall before it was anything.
Yeah,
before it even had a name for it.
Right now, this is quite an iconic wall. Everybody knows about this wall. Yeah. And it's not just a wall, actually. Even the inside of the brewery, everything has
We're sitting right in front of Alvin Surreal's mural, which I helped curate as well. So you point and shoot, and I'll tell you, yeah, I know who that is, and I assisted with that. Again, this is home base. This is truly home base, and if we're going to be anywhere, this is where we need to be. Absolutely.
All right, perfect. So what a great location, and definitely kudos to the brewery for whatever they do for the community. Coming to a brewery, it's like a community event. It's people gathering together, having a good time, enjoying a good cold beer on a hot summer day in Florida.
Hot any day in Miami, Florida.
Yes.
I think
just
it's
to
hot
remind everybody who listens to the podcast, we are in Miami.
Yes. It's 90 all the time.
It's 90 all the time. I actually find out going through some of the podcast review that someone is listening to us in Denmark. I don't know who is listening in Denmark, but shout out to Denmark.
Shout out to Denmark.
We have a couple of listeners in Canada, in Ontario, in France, because I am French, so I told the family about it.
There you go.
I'm not sure if they understand anything, but they do follow. But anyway, so this is definitely a great, great location. So beside the wall and everything that you have done, for the community, you also have a huge foundation called Elevate Arts Foundation. So we're going to be talking about this because it's something you're sharing with your student and the people in the community.
Yeah, it's going back to being here at Lincoln's Beard Brewing and things happening so organically. Elevate happened organically. Wall Brawl elevated to elevate. And if you don't know about Wall Brawl, that's maybe another podcast.
Oh, no. Let's talk about it. We'll talk about it after that, yes.
Yes. So Wall Brawl, we were always talking about, me and my business partner, shout out to Frank Moreno. We're going to name drop in this podcast. I'm sorry to tell you.
That's quite okay.
I'm that guy. So Frank, what's up? Frank Moreno and myself were always, during Wall Brawl, during those years, we're talking about what can we do on a larger scale, bigger than this? What can we do? What can we do? And we were always talking about opening a non-for-profit. Well, thank you, pandemic. I had a lot of time on my hands, and so did everybody else, right? So Mr. Wilson took a hit, the artist, financially, but that's where Elevate was born, from the pandemic. And I sat there and waited, and the paperwork came through, finally. And we were 501c3 status. It's like, great.
So this is a nonprofit organization.
Yes, this is a nonprofit organization. Our mission is to beautify schools throughout Dade County. So what I'm doing, essentially, I'm an art teacher. I don't even like using that term, teacher. I'm an art coach, and I've been coaching for 20 years in the same classroom, 27 in total. A little bit of that and a little bit of that graffiti writer mentality. I'm trying to go all city. So my classroom is breaking out of 118, where I've been for 20 years, and is hitting the entire district, if I can, if they let me, and I think they will. And so we're taking Wynwood West, and we're trying to do what has been done, but in regular schools. They're not art schools. They're not in Wynwood. They're out in the middle of Kendall, and we're trying to beautify and change. We're trying to, totally change the visual landscape and inspire that student to let them know that this is a viable direction for your life. It's viable. You're not going to be the starving artist.
No, definitely.
You're going to be okay. Trust. You're going to be just fine. And I think we all grew up on the starving artist. I don't know if that's still around. You know, if you go into art, you're going to be starving. I don't know if they're still around anymore, but nonetheless, if you dig into the layers of this Elevate Foundation, part of that is there. And, you know, we're trying to make sure that the kids understand that this is a valuable and valid direction for your artistic career. Absolutely.
And for actually any direction you want to go in your life. It just brings something into you. It just brings some colors to your life. There's so much bullying going around in schools and things like this. So whenever there's some art, whenever there's an opportunity to have something brighten your days, just like colors, people you can talk to, or just reflecting on some piece of art that you see in your school.
I'll share a story with you.
Oh, please,
I'll share a story for you. So last summer, I don't have my second school. I just finished Homestead Middle. My first school is Homestead Middle. And I get a DM over the summer. And what middle school kid is actually thinking about going back to school? I was.
No.
So I wasn't thinking about going back to school. So the middle of summer, a child, I do not know who this child is, but a child DM'd me on Instagram, found Elevate Arts Foundation, and said, I can't wait to get back. Because they knew we were gonna have more murals for them for their return. And so their return was that. There was more murals, there was something to look at, there was colors, there was this, there was that. It brightened up their day, it brightened up the hallways. And I want to say, ask the principal, John Britt, ask him. I think we elevated the attendance for sure at Homestead Middle. And so now we're at Palmetto Middle. We're hoping to do the same.
But this is something well known, well studied, that art brings something good in the study, in the art education is something very crucial for the children, for their well-being, for their school results are much greater when there's some art involved in it. It could be music also is something very, very important in the CV that unfortunately it's a little bit pushed away in the school system.
But I mean, you're absolutely, you're dead on. The studies have been proven. The data is there, but this is a data driven, and it's not the data you're talking about. It's data from testing, and they over test these children. And so again, there's so many layers to Elevate, but I'm here to bring, I guess, this mentality of, look, let's just have fun. Let's make art happen. We're going to put art up on the walls. We're going to educate them on that art level, but encourage them to come to school, and it's going to be art, at least in my mind, right? They're coming to school. They're getting there when they're getting there, and the attendance is improving because they don't know what's happening. From day to day, it could shift. It could change in terms of the artwork on the walls and the murals, etc.
It does change, and it's going to change the direction. They're going to be questioning themselves. So what was the wall before? Did I like it better? Did I like this one better? So it's a good thing. It brings a conversation to the day-to-day life.
And if I could jump on that,
go ahead.
That's what I've been talking about. We have changed the conversation. I used to talk about changing the visual landscape, and we did that at Homestead Middle. But now it has progressed. And at Palmetto Middle, we have changed the conversation. Teachers taking students out of the classroom and teaching their course in front of one of the murals because the mural was just executed, and they know that's getting the attention. Oh, we have changed the conversation. And the conversation at Palmetto Middle, they're not an art school. The conversation now is not math, not science, not data. It's art. It's art. Fact.
All right. I love to hear that.
Fact.
So you were talking about the wall brawl a minute ago. If you want to explain our listeners what the wall brawl used to be or might still be, or
wall brawl was what we were trying to do with wall brawl. Me and my business partner was to bring art to the community. You usually see the finished product. You see the finished canvas. You see the mural. You're like, ooh, that's cool. You have some kind of reaction. What we were trying to do with wall brawl is get you right there, get you front and center as that artist executes the work.
So this was a live painting.
Yeah, it was a live painting scenario. Sprinkle a little competition. You had 90 minutes. So I had 4, 5, 6. At our height, we had, a dozen artists painting live, and you had 90 minutes to finish your work. So that instantly ratchet up the competition level, because in your head, you're like, I got 90 minutes here. And it was a lot of fun to witness. A lot of fun.
It was definitely a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun to witness. And some of the key players in Miami, the Miami art scene, they came through wall brawl. I have to brag, of course. They came through wall brawl. So Nadie, I see you. How you doing? Nadie, Aquarella, Claudia Bianca. Should I name drop? Let me name drop some.
Please go ahead.
Carlos Solano, bro. Carlos Solano, get out of here.
He's crushing it right now. In Broward, and he's crushing it.
He owns the Panthers. I think he owns the Panthers. That's the last thing I heard. Is that he artistically owns the Panthers. But so as a individual who was helping co-curate those experiences and finding diamonds in the rough throughout this city and bringing them to the forefront and allowing them to paint, and then to see them blossom and grow up. They're not kids, but they grew up.
They grew up as a people, as artists. Like we mentioned Didi also.
Yes.
I've had her on the cover of a magazine. We did an interview a couple of weeks ago. It's absolutely incredible to see the growth, how they became artists, recognized now, and they can be making a living out of their work. I mean, this is something just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people I can't call anymore. I can't call Carlos Solano. Speaking of Carlos Solano, I can't call him. I call him to say what's up. But he knows, if he's listening, he knows, but he'll get a kick out of that. And then he'll be like, bro, call me, bro. But they're like that. Didi, at the point that, for the last decade, I've asked her to either wall brawl or now with Elevate, she was able to paint at Homestead Middle, which is great. Speaking of Didi, shout out to Didi, another name drop. But nonetheless, it's great. It's great to see these artists, as I said, grow up, even though they're not, my students. I treat everybody like they're my students.
Yeah.
So I think there's a mutual understanding or respect level, I want to say.
I love that word, respect. Totally.
There's a respect level with me and whoever works with me. So I treat everybody like they're my students. And I guess that's why I might be Mr. Wilson everywhere.
Yeah, well, but this is a beautiful thing. I mean, this is a pretty tight community, street artist community that we have here in Miami. And there's some newcomers. When I had the magazine 10 years ago, drop a few more names. Golden was not around. Carlos was not around.
Get me started.
And then, I mean, but this is so amazing to see how quickly, how bright they were. They were at the right place at the right time. And shout out to all these guys. I mean, they are making an amazing artist community. And this is actually the reason of that podcast, because we're going to be talking about art, street art in the community and all the different aspects of it for years, because in a year or 2 or 3, there will be some other people coming and joining the community. It's very, very, very strong throughout Broward, Dead County, and all the way to Palm Beach County. I mean,
it's international as well.
And it's international as well.
I mean,
absolutely.
You said Golden's everywhere. You know, and so you can talk about these individuals that have not only blossomed in our own community. Now when I'm curating a possible project, I'm letting the principal know and the district director for Dade County Public Schools, this individual, they got a month. We got a month with them. So we need to make this happen right now because they're international. I can't tell you how many times I say that. This person is international.
Absolutely. And they're moving. There's such a fast pace. I mean, this weekend we're having the Grand Prix Formula One in here, which is something absolutely huge for the community. It's huge for the market. Of course, it's talking about billions of dollars. But for the art community, it's something huge because everybody is engaged with those events.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, we had Ultra also, the Music Art Festival, something we're going to be talking about. What's going on in the community really connects a lot of people. And the street art community, I don't know for sure always call them street artists. They're just artists anyway. That's what they are. They're just individual. They're artists. Of course, they do some art on the street for everybody to enjoy. This is
exactly because that's the new dance. They need to dance that new dance.
Exactly,
that's the dance. So if you want to be an artist in 2024, you better know the dances, and that's the dance.
Yeah,
you got to be able to get down on a wall.
They are giving to the community these walls. I mean, on the people on their daily commute, and then seeing a wall, seeing something on versus a billboard or something, it's just so much better. It just brightens the city and just if it brings you a smile for 2 minutes. I mean, if you just turn your head saying, okay, this is major.
And that's what we're trying to do with Elevate. As I said, there's some people I can call, there's some people I can't call, but I'm calling all the time, regardless. And I'm old school. I get people on the phone. That's why I call you. I'm not that guy who texts, but I call, and I'm, whatever project I have ongoing, I'm calling people. And it's for that reason, because I know art can do that. It's going to turn these kids' heads. These middle school, elementary school students are going to turn and say, what's that about? And there's questions. They don't have all the answers. And that's the beauty. What's happening at Palmetto Middle now, like I told you earlier, not only are the classes being conducted outside, but the conversation has shifted towards answering the visual questions that present themselves, because of these muralists are painting these colossal murals, and they're like, what is this about? You'll find out. And those teachers are now explaining for me, because I'm not there. I'm in the middle of my class. They're explaining for me what is transpiring. So I can't say enough about what we're doing with Elevate, and the experiences at Palmetto Middle are out of control.
Yeah, so far you have curated 2 mural projects in 2 different schools. Like you mentioned, Palmetto Middle and Homestead Middle schools.
Homestead was my first school.
Homestead was the first school, and Palmetto is the school you are teaching at.
No, actually, I teach at Ferguson Senior High School.
So what about a wall at Ferguson?
Well, there is a wall at Ferguson.
There is a wall?
There's 2 walls.
That's 2 walls.
That's Golden 305.
All right.
There's some walls, but again, it's
But there's some blank walls.
I haven't turned Ferguson into that canvas yet. But I did, I guess, get my feet wet before I had the non-for-profit.
Of course.
I got my feet wet, I guess. I want to say I did. Yeah, I did. At Ferguson Senior High, we might have 20 murals there, but it's looked at differently. I think at Ferguson, it's like the standard. They've been there. That's Wilson. That's Mr. Wilson. That's what he does. He just brings artists. And it's not taken as serious. I think the impact we're making at these middle schools is huge. Homestead Middle, they went nuts. And the celebration that we threw down there to celebrate the artists and the artwork was incredible. The tours that we conducted were incredible. And the kids' reaction, I know what I need to do. And I need to keep doing it. And it's elevate.
That's absolutely golden. It's incredible to hear this. I mean, it definitely starts with the younger generation, with the younger kids.
It's impactful. It's definitely impactful. It's definitely impactful to that age group, more so than what I've experienced at Ferguson Senior High. I want to say we're doing what we need to do with that middle school, and we're eventually going to do middle schools and elementary schools. The vision is to do an entire feeder pattern. What do I mean by that? The elementary, the middle, and the high school. So 3 schools a year. Multiply that by 5 years, and my retirement will be Elevate Foundation.
All right. Awesome. This is also a project that is going on throughout Broward County. Maxence has been taking care of, my son has been taking care of a couple of schools too. We also have down here, we have a registered artist who's doing an incredible job when he brings so many people and international artists that are actually not really well known here in Florida. Some of them I don't even know, but their work is absolutely incredible. So,
correct.
Registered artist, if you listen to this podcast, you'll be next.
Yeah, shout out to registered artists for sure. I tell stories about registered artists all the time. One of those wall brawls, I don't know which one it was. It was the 3rd or 4th one. We were all young cats at that time, and so you look around and you just take a microcosm photo snap of that experience. And I'll always remember RA, registered artists, taking out stencil after stencil after, I don't know how many he had, but I've been telling this story. He had like 20 stencils for that one wall brawl. So we had this entire array of artists doing their thing and doing their thing at a high level. I'm gonna drop more names. It's Render Ryder. It's Rigo Leon. These guys are just cut from this cloth that I can't say enough about those individuals, that I'm blessed that I'm even associated with them, and they even pick up my calls, because I'm still calling. Carlos, I'm calling you, Carlos Solano.
Give him a break.
So, I'm blessed, man, that Rigo still picks up my phone calls, that Render Ryder still picks them, because you know, and I know how big these guys have become. And I'll tell you, I tell this story, tell a lot of stories. I don't tell short stories. I tell a lot of stories. I tell the story about Rigo Leon. The first Walbro 1 or 2, I'm not sure which one it was. He was selling his work out the trunk of his car.
Oh, yes. I've seen more than one artist doing that. Yes.
And so I'm here in the middle of wall brawl. I walk over to his car and he lifts up the trunk and he's like showing me pieces. And I'm like, these pieces are incredible. I don't even know how he executed them, but that's the story I tell. And now when he comes to my school, because sometimes when they make it easy on me, I have Rigo take over my classroom.
Oh, okay.
I have Rigo Leon take over days, and he just comes and
takes over. He's teaching the kids?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
He's bilingual, and the kids dig him because he can just roll Spanish straight at him and talk about being from Cuba and what's up, and just tells his story. And it's an incredible story. And those opportunities are great for me because Rigo goes upstairs and he paints, and then he comes downstairs and comes in my room and just takes over. And so, again, going back to what I said earlier, he still picks up my phone call. Yeah.
Those are very close friends. I mean, usually since I live in Broward, I call them my Wynwood family because this is where everything started.
Yeah.
And shout out to Winwood and to what happened to Winwood. I mean, we are 12, 15 years ago, Winwood was not on the map yet. Now Winwood is on the map.
But we're benefiting. We're benefiting. I'll tell you why we're benefiting.
Absolutely.
We're benefiting because everybody wants a little piece of that. And so Elevate brings that. I was talking about taking Winwood West. Everybody wants a piece of that energy. And so I think I benefit from that. I'm going to bring a piece of that energy, and it's not on my mission statement. It's not my calling card, but everyone that I work with, if I need to put the exclamation point on the conversation, on that statement, on that sentence, yeah, and they own Winwood. That's it. That's all I have to say if I need to convince anybody, because I'm usually convincing non-artists. I'm convincing individuals who are not familiar with Winwood at all.
Yeah,
as much as we are.
Know, yeah.
Yeah, they don't. They really don't know. So then it's like, who is this? What? Huh? But that's the clincher. That I can say that about all these individuals. And again, I know it's a source of pride for all of us. I know it is for you. I know it is for me. We knew these cats when they were youngsters, when they were just grinding.
Oh, grinding. And it was still grinding. I mean, just
and I think
at a different speed now.
Yeah, at a different speed. If you're going to be successful, you have to grind.
There's no other way. There is no other way. And this is something you are probably teaching your children, your students. I mean, you have to put the work into anything you do.
I don't stop.
Yeah.
I don't stop. I mean, it's my students, once in a while, I'll have one that will inquire, and I'll break it down for them. And they're not ready to digest the totality of it. But I tell them, I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning every single day, and I have a schedule. 3 and 4, it's Mr. Wilson art. Yeah. Sometimes Elevate creeps into that 3 or 4. 4 or 5, I'm working out. By 6 o'clock, my kids are awake. My 2 children, and I got to get them ready for school.
For school too, yeah.
And then I take whatever I didn't finish from 3 to 4. I take that to Ferguson. So as my kids are painting, I'm painting. I do Mr. Wilson art all day long, and that's just Mr. Wilson art. Elevate, Elevates is a passion of mine, and it stems from the wall brawl, the show love, from Lincoln's Beard, from the mural, the Union Wall. It just stems from all of that. And so we're hoping we can catch lightning in a bottle and make Elevate happen and just keep elevating.
So what are some of the biggest projects that you have going on, or something that you can or are willing to share with us? And what is your next step with the Elevate Foundation?
Man, I'm in a good place right now. There's some things. Let's just say at the end of 2024, 2025, I should be really good with Elevate. There should be some really good funding coming in, and then we can start talking about
projects and something.
We can talk about substantial, because I'm gifting all these schools. So Homestead Middle got gifted, Palmetto Middle got gifted, in the sense that I'm bringing this project to them. And I've been lucky in every project that somebody has stepped up and bought all the paint. And then someone like Muda, another name drop, Muda donated his entire, I went to his studio and we emptied out his storage facility. And so at Palmetto Middle, I got Cobra for days. Thank you, PTSA. The PTSA at Palmetto Middle paid for the Cobra. And then Muda donated the rest. Wow. And I have, it's a little room, but it's incredible. I like to go to the room and just stand. There's so much paint. Oh my God, I love it. So when I contact anybody, I'm like, yeah, it's this, it's that. But I got Cobra for days, and Muda donated the rest. So we hope to keep that going, but it would be nice, right? Of course, to have the funding and have things situated that's not a problem.
Yeah, definitely. They're always running after money. Whatever we do, everything costs. Everybody can give some free time. That's, and people are very, very generous with their free time in this community. But at the end of the day, we all need money. We need to function. We need to...
And that's part of the funding structure. The potential funding structure of Elevate is that we're going to get artists paid. So, and of course, not what they're worth at all. It's an insult in many ways. But I'm going to provide a stipend and a tax write-off. So if they're an LLC, like I'm an LLC,
yes, of course, yeah,
they'll be able to write off. So we're hoping that we at least accomplished some of our goals in regards to getting artists paid. And that's been part of our game plan since Waldo. We've been trying to get people paid. And we did good our run because we ended our run because we lost our sponsor. But we had a sponsor, and the sponsor was paying nicely. And we were able to give certain individuals a nice little check.
Of course. Well, that's the name of the game. I mean, they, like I said, they can give their free time, and not everybody has some free time. I mean, yeah, you can work around, but everybody works for some money, and everybody has a family to raise, everybody has a rent to pay, everybody has a mortgage, a car payment. This is like, we're just regular people, none but the regular people.
Very regular.
Listen, we're going to get to the last part of the interview, and I'm sure we can be talking for much longer about all this.
I'm just going to say this now. There should be a part 2, and there could be like a part 3 to this podcast.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. So one of the things that I like to do in a podcast is to bring a quote and then do a little bit of reflection on a quote. And of course, it's something that is relevant to what we just discussed. So, Mr. Wilson, if you want to read the quote that I picked for you today and tell our listeners a little bit about it.
The quote, I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Wow. I know my students. I'm an educator.
Exactly.
So I'm going to go there. I know. I don't know. People will forget what you did. I have an answer for every one of these lines. So yesterday, I had an event, and I'm sitting there registering elementary school kids for an art exhibit. And a former student of mine who follows me on Instagram came up having a Mr. Wilson experience where they finally see their art teacher crawl out of the rock that they live under, correct? One thing leads to another. In front of an entire audience, says to me, we still quote you to this day. I said, really? She said, I call so-and-so all the time and ask her, are you making art happen?
Oh, that is a wonderful thing.
I know you know. Slam dunk.
Totally.
Slam dunk. I could address all these lines if you want me to. I don't know. That might be another time. Will people forget what you did?
They may forget.
The tattoos on my arm?
Yeah.
I started tattooing at age 50. The tattoos on my arm are from a student. The student told me, you became a different person when you started painting your mother's flower in front of the class. This student remembered that my mother passed away and that I started painting hydrangeas in my mother's name. He said, you became a different teacher. You became a different person. All of a sudden, he has told me, as he's doing my tattoo, he's telling me, yeah, we felt like we were collaborating with you. Like we felt part of this work you were executing. You were so transparent. You were so open. And when I came in here, you were so aggressive. And that's how I usually am at the beginning of the year. I'm very aggressive. So that child, who's not a child anymore, he's like 30-something and doing my tattoo. He's like 30-something. Ain't a kid no more, but I call them they're all my kids. So my kid is now 30-something doing my tattoo. And he told me exactly what I did. I do all that. I do that every single day, and I take that and I'm trying to apply that to everything I do. So that's Mr. Wilson, again, in the classroom, Mr. Wilson on the street. I'm the same guy. Nothing has changed. I treat everybody the same, whether they're in room 118 or they're on the wall here at Lincoln's Beer.
Well, Mr. Wilson, thank you so much for everything we discussed. I mean, this is a really, really meaningful podcast.
Yeah, man.
It's something... I'm just so glad that we did it. I'm just glad that we did it because you're just the real guy. You're just a real guy. You're the dude. You're the dude. I mean, come on.
Can we get that recorded? Oh, wait a minute. We are recording.
It is. You are the dude. I mean, come on. This is just like, this is what happened in South Florida. And it happens everywhere in the country. I'm sure there's plenty of artist communities. But here in South Florida, I mean, for us, it's something special. And it's something I would love to share with our listeners. And I want to hear the people telling their story and telling the core of the story, telling something genuine. I want the essence of all the stories.
May I? Yes. Can I speak for the artist for a second?
My goodness, please.
I want to thank you because I know what you've been up to. And it's been a dozen years. It's been 14 years, whatever it's been, circle whatever. Dude, you've been there, and camera on, camera off, microphone live, let's talk, whatever it has been, you've been there. And there's not a lot of people that have been there. And you were here, and wow, how's it changed? And you were aware of when it was, whatever it was. And it's morphed into this, and you're still here, and we're talking about it. There's somebody, because none of us have the time to settle. I told you, I never stop. I don't have time to reflect.
Yeah.
We need people like you.
It's a good thing.
We need
the reflection we just had on everything.
Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome.
And I'm nobody.
Oh, come on. You are nobody. This is someone that...
I'm just giving a shout out to nobody.
Yeah, the very first podcast we
I heard that one. That was great.
He was such a good friend. He was such a good friend. He was my biggest introduction to the Wynwood art
I'm
scene.
nobody, baby. I'm nobody, and I will tell you, I'm nobody, but you're doing a great thing.
So let's just remind everybody once again where we are, because this is where everything started, and we're going to finish the podcast with this. We are at
Lincoln's Beard Brewing. Let me talk about it. Lincoln's Beard Brewing. Wow. Everything started here. And so as you heard earlier, I was here at the very beginning, and I just, one last time, John Falco, thank you so much for letting us come here today.
Yes, thank you so much.
Take over the second floor and just do our podcast. And it's a great setting. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to film the Union Wall, and I'm going to look at all the stickers that are up. And this is a little mecca. In some ways, this has become, you mentioned it earlier, it's become iconic. And I did my 50th birthday here. This is great. I'm having a blast.
All right. So thank you so much again, Mr. Wilson, for that time that we spent together. Thank you for the brewery. Thank you for everybody who was listening to the podcast. And I will be with you very, very soon. Have a great, great day. Thank you. Thank you for listening to Write Your Narrative. Please follow me and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform. Have a great week, and I'll see you on the next episode of Write Your Narrative, a South Florida street art podcast.